Oh, howdy. Seeing as it's Mental Health Awareness Week, I thought I should try and help do my little bit. I do bang on a lot about meditating and stuff like that recently, and I know sometimes it can probably be a bit like, yeah, all right. But I thought I would just explain briefly the science behind it, because I used to find myself, I struggled with sometimes feeling like with meditating I was just trying not to think about stuff, so I didn't really understand how. I understood that in day-to-day life it stops you from getting lost in trains of thought if you can bring yourself back, but I also felt like maybe it was pushing me from addressing stuff I needed to, if that makes sense. So anyway, basically what I was going to say is, so your brain, I made a little post about this the other day, but I know that sometimes people don't like reading because it's a bit, and especially when you see big words, you get a bit put off. But anyway, so your brain, it's my lovely little drawing, can be split up into 3 sections. I should have written it backwards, really. The top part is your prefrontal cortex, right? In your prefrontal cortex, you make reasoned decisions. It's where you're more creative. It's where you can evaluate and understand what's happening, you know, and like actually process it, make decisions. Okay, yes, that's the top part. You want as much information as you can to get into the top part of your brain, obviously, so that you don't just have emotional reactions to things. You actually kind of can process stuff and understand what's going on. So the middle part of your brain is your limbic system. And in your limbic system, it's your emotional center. So it's just where all your emotions live, like all your feelings. Every time you feel angry or sad, or that's where the limbic system is, okay? So in the limbic system is the amygdala, right? The amygdala is like acts as a security guard. So if you're feeling too stressed, when stuff is happening to you, it won't make its way to your prefrontal cortex where you can make a reasoned decision, because the amygdala will stop it. So you'll have an emotional reaction. So for example, when people talk about the fight-flight response, that is what would happen if you're too stressed and you can't process the thoughts properly. So basically, also in your limbic system is your hippocampus, and your hippocampus remembers how you react to stuff. It remembers your reactions. So obviously we want it to remember sort of mindful reactions, where we maybe don't act in an emotional or angry response. We can process, we remember that we don't just need to stress about that thing. So the problem, wait, I'll explain that in a second, but the next bit is the vegetative system, which is just the part of your digestive system, everything like that. So it's just your bodily functions that you don't necessarily think about, but actually, obviously, they can be affected by your mental state. So sorry, I'm getting muddled. So when you meditate or when you breathe, what you actually wait, scrap that, I'll explain that in 1 second. Okay, so what I was going to say is, in this bit, in your limbic system, where your fight and flight bit is, this is where you'll release cortisol, and cortisol is really bad for your immune system. It's just really bad for you in general. It can be really bad for your memory as well. So basically, the problem in now new regular day life is that we would, so say we were actually, you know, faced up against a real threat, it would have been really helpful to us because we could run away, or we could, you know, fight, or, you know, like it's fight or flight, isn't it? So because we now don't know what's stressful, we might pick up our phone and a text stresses us, and that releases this, or you read something, or, you know, like it could be anything now, because we can't perceive what is real stress and what is fake stress. Like obviously there's different types of stress, but yeah. So anyway, with meditating, what you're actively doing, when you meditate, you just concentrate on breathing, you know, and people say to you, oh, just breathe if you're really stressed out or whatever. But what that does is, every time you meditate, you're actually actively making the amygdala smaller, so the security guard, which is stopping the information going up into your reasoned thinking area, it's making that smaller, and it's making the hippocampus bigger. So you can create your more sort of mindful reactions to things, so that your straight go-to reaction isn't to release cortisol and feel this fight or flight. It's meant to actually actively help stuff get up here and you can think about it. So you're creating neuro pathways in your brain between here and here, and you're also enabling yourself to actually actively think about it. So when you something happens and you go like, whoa, oh God, and then you're about to react, if you stop and you breathe and you take really big, long in, out breaths, you're actively activating your relaxation response in your brain. So instead of the stress response being activated, you activate the relaxation response, which inevitably will help you then process it on a higher level. So that is my really short explanation on the sort of science, I guess, / psychology behind it. And a lot of people used to bang on about mindfulness. And I used to find it quite hard to be like, how to be mindful? How can I be in the moment? I just couldn't even perceive living in the moment because I was always, a million miles in my head. But I guess it's just the more you practice it, the more present you can become. And I think that through meditation is one of the best ways to become more mindful, because it does help you bring yourself back. Obviously there's like, some people don't like it, you could yoga, just breathing, just breathing exercises, like anything like that can be really, really positive. Obviously there's loads of other stuff on it, there's loads more information. That was just a little snippet. Hopefully it helps someone. Big love. Mwah.